is Andrew Tarvin, who's going to talk to us about perhaps some of the disadvantages or challenges, I don't know if there are any, but maybe we haven't thought, of applied improvisation.
Andrew Tarvin.
Thank you. So as applied improvisers, you know about the benefits of applied improvisation. So what I'd like you to do for my talk is to imagine yourself as one of your clients. And I want to speak to you as clients. So imagine that with this framework, because I want to talk to you as clients. So thank you all for coming here to listen and learn a little bit more about applied improvisation. For those of you who don't know, applied improvisation is simply taking the ideas, exercises, and concepts from the world of applied improvisation and improvisation and applying them to real-world application, things like communication, leadership, managing emotions, etc. And there are many, many advantages to applied improvisation. It's experiential, interactive, engaging training that inspires, educates, and entertains. But there are also many disadvantages, or at least perceived disadvantages of applied improvisation for either you as clients or the participants in the workshop. And that's what I want to talk about today. Disadvantage number one is that applied improvisation can be terrifying. For many of the people in our workshops, some of them feel like public speaking is one of their greatest fears. And we're going to they believe that they're going to do an improvised version of that. When people walk in, we might as well be saying that today they're going to be doing applied skydiving or applied falling into a pit of snakes. Right? Because they're afraid of what that means. But the reality is that applied improv isn't scary, right? We as applied improvisers create an environment where people can learn something new and where they can actually have the opportunity in a safe environment to learn the skills that will make them a better public speaker or will help them communicate with their teams or to be a better leader. The second disadvantage or perceived disadvantage to some of our participants is that applied improv is risky. It's a risky proposition. As improvisers, it's okay if we make a mistake on stage because we can turn that into a gift, turn it into an offer. But in the real world, if you make a mistake as a person in the corporate world or in your job, you might cost the company money, or you might lose your job, or you might cause someone to lose their life. And in a workshop, some people might feel like, yeah, maybe I want to try something, but what will my boss think about it? What happens if I do remove that filter and say something inappropriate? There is a risk to some of these participants, but we create an environment where that risk is mitigated, where it's lower, where people can practice these skills and then go out and do a better job where there are actual risks. Number three is that people believe improv is touchy-feely, right? It's for thespians, it's for theater people, it's not for me as an engineer or a scientist, right? And we're going to do these activities and ultimately I'm going to have to do a trust fall. Applied improvisation is not trust falls, right? Certainly there's interaction, certainly there is connection, but it's about creating these moments to improve on what you do. Disadvantage number four is that it's on the spot. And this serves some people, right? Extroverts have no problem being on the spot and thinking out loud, but introverts, myself, I'm an introvert, we like to think before we speak. And that's not a knock against extroverts, it's just that we want time to process. And so people feel like, oh no, what if I'm in a debrief circle and all the extroverts keep talking and then someone puts me on the spot and makes me say something and I'm not quite ready. Well, us applied improvisers, we know that there's different types of personalities in the room, and we manage that. We give people an opportunity to think before they respond. We give them a chance to debrief in different ways where it's not always just a conversation, but sometimes it's writing thoughts down or sharing it on a Post-it note, right? We manage the type of people that are in the room, and we adjust based on the needs of the organization. Disadvantage number five is that it's abstract, right? The learnings happen in the moment. They're experienced. You may come to an applied improv event and not actually see any slides. And that terrifies people. How am I going to learn if you don't put on the board what I'm supposed to learn? Right? But we know as applied improvisers that people learn in different ways, and some people are auditory learners, some people learn through experience, and other people learn visually. So we create the additional things, the additional handout, the continuing education, the follow-ups, or the written down ideas of what people have learned so that other people can learn in various ways, so that people can learn the way that they, in fact, learn. Disadvantage number 6 is interactive. And there are probably many of you in this room, myself, I have felt it where I've gone into an event and someone's like, all right, we're going to do an activity, and you're like, no. I just want to sit here. I don't feel like moving. I don't want to get up and give high fives to my coworkers, right? I don't want to have to make eye contact with Jerry, who hasn't responded to my email in 3 weeks. Right? But it's interactive for a purpose, right? We build these relationships, and it's in those interactions that we can train things like communication skills. Because so often we might go to a communication training where someone talks at us for the entire day, and then we're expected as people who have gone to this training to somehow be able to apply that immediately, jump in front of a room full of people and speak. And we have never actually even practiced the skill. The interactivity gives us an opportunity to not only learn and have these aha moments, but to practice that skill in a safe environment so that when we go out into the real world a little bit later, we've already got the reps to be successful. Disadvantage number 7 is that it's fun. And this can be a disadvantage because sometimes people are distracted by the fun. Sometimes they're laughing the entire day, and then at the end of the day, they're like, that was so much fun, I just don't know why I did it, right? And an applied improviser connects that fun idea to why it's important. Yes, we had a great time making up these words in this word definition game. Oh, but we also connected it to what that means about confidence and body language and paralanguage, or how I can apply that to my own creative method. It's not just fun, it's also effective. Disadvantage number 8 is that it's play. And some people might see this and say, oh my God, they just had so much fun, right? And applied improv is now on the same scale as let's all go bowling, or let's go to a happy hour, right? Or let's do a minute to win it challenge. And I'm not knocking holding an egg on a spoon for as long as you can. I'm not knocking that, right? That's great team building. But applied improvisation is so much more than team building. Certainly we build the relationships of people in the room. At an organization, we help break down silos and get coworkers to actually know each other a little bit better. At conferences, we bring people together, and it serves as an icebreaker so that people have new relationships. But it also trains a skill. It does something even more. Disadvantage number 9 is that it's not serious, right? We've just said it's play, it's fun. And we can start to think, oh, well, again, that's for people that can do it. Right? That's for your little make-em-ups on stage. It's not about making things up, right? It's about this moment, this experience, and we can take this fun, playful experience and teach a very valuable skill that you can then go and apply in the serious work that you do. Because if you believe in the message that you're giving, if you believe your work is so serious, you want to do everything you can to be more effective at what you do, and applied improvisation provides the training for that. But the biggest disadvantage of all is that it's unknown. When people hear applied improvisation, they have no idea what it means, right? They have all these perceived preconceived notions, or maybe no notions whatsoever of what it actually is. But I'm here to tell you there's a phenomenal organization, a phenomenal collection of applied improvisers out there who get together and talk about how they can help increase the status and awareness of this thing called applied improvisation. And one of the things that they do, and I know they do it, is that they realize that applied improvisation is not a what, it is a how. It is not what we do as applied improvisers, it is how we do it. What we do as applied improvisers is we create change. We increase employee engagement, or we decrease stress. We help people manage and create new relationships, or we diffuse conflict. Some people use it to help people with dementia get through that experience, or kids with autism to go through that process, or people who have anxiety, right? These are all things that we do, and the way that we do it is through applied improvisation. And as applied improvisers, we believe that improv can and will change the world. We also believe what Gandhi said, that we need to be the change we wish to see in the world. We believe Margaret Mead when she says that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world, because indeed it is the only thing that it ever has. And we believe zombies when they say, brains. Because brains, zombies, are actually, in fact, a phenomenal way and an apt metaphor for how change happens. There's an Applied improv game called Zombie Tag, which maybe we'll do later. But Zombie Tag basically works like this. People start walking around the room. At some point, someone becomes a zombie, maybe because their name is called out or because they're inspired. And when that happens, their arms go up, they walk a little bit slower, and they say, brains. And then if they tag someone else, that person also becomes a zombie, and they walk slower, their arm goes up, and they say brains. And it starts out with 1 or 2 people, but then in a short period of time, people get tagged, and it grows, and it grows, and it grows, and then suddenly it's a room full of zombies, and you're trying to see how long you will survive in a zombie apocalypse. And it's so much fun. I love doing it because I'll do it with senior executives, and some of them will start running away like, no! And it's like, that man runs a multi-million-dollar company. And it's play, and it's fun. But then at the end of it, we'll talk about it. And we'll talk about what you just witnessed is exactly how change happens. It starts with a single person. It starts with a patient zero, someone that has an idea or a belief. And they go out and they infect a small group of people. And that group of people goes out and infects another small group of people. And that idea might be something like engagement. It might be something like humor in the workplace. It might be something like improvisation. It is hopefully not something like a brain-eating disease. And I am encouraging you all here, both in the metaphorical and literal sense, to be the patient zero, to be the change we wish to see in the world, to be that small group of committed citizens who are going to go out and make that change, and to be that zombie that goes and infects people with applied improvisation. I've been Andrew Tarvin. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you very much.